Hi everybody, I'm live and it's great to be back on Facebook Live. It's been a few weeks since I've done this because I've been so busy doing other wonderful things. And so it's great to be here again, woohoo! And today's been an amazing day because it's a fiesta again here where I live in Spain, and it's the Dia de la Hispanidad. So everybody's got their flags out and they're celebrating, and there's been beach parties and everything, so it's been pretty noisy around here as usual. So welcome. And today we've got a fantastic topic of how to tell a true tall tale. Telling tales, that's what it's all about. And how can we spin stories so that we can attract more attention? How can we keep our audiences engaged? How can we spice up our stories? And yes, I have to say it is wonderful to be back, and I've got my weapons of public speaking. Here they are, the lipstick and the microphone, the two most important things that a girl needs when she goes online. Hey, Lucinda, all the way in the same time zone, but all the way more south than I am. So have you got your lipstick and your microphone ready? So yeah, and Jane, that's great. So tall tales. Well, so welcome on board. If you're catching the replay, what you call the CTR, fantastic. Join in, put your comments in, ask questions. I'll get back to all of you, I promise. So I have been away for a few weeks now, busy doing loads of other things, which is great. Hello. And one of the things that I have been doing is I've had 2 articles published in Thrive magazine, online magazine. So it's been like, woohoo, time for me, because I do love writing, and yay, thank you for the hearts, that's lovely. I do love writing, and so that's been very rewarding to see that they've been published, because it's been a while since I've had some stuff published. So writing, yes, I do love writing, and I'm one of these people that I use words a lot, and I love to jazz them up. So this is what got me into storytelling. Oh, look at all these lovely smiles and hearts. That's really lovely. Thank you, girls. So what we're saying, looking forward to it. Hi. Yes. Gorgeous Jane as well. We've got one north, one south, and I'm in the middle. So yeah, so storytelling for me started, the tall tale thing started when I joined Toastmasters here in Spain. And it's a wonderful thing that we do every year, which is to organize a tall tale contest, whereby people get up and they have to tell a story in 4 to 5 minutes, and it has to be something, at the end of it, we have to decide whether it's a true or a false story. And so it requires quite a bit of exaggeration, it has an element of being unbelievable. And maybe we add some more drama. We chop and change things up. We make things a little bit different. Here we got there, yeah. And so that was the core of the idea, was to get up, tell a tall tale, and see if at the end of it people would believe you, whether it was true or false. And then we would vote to see if your tale was true or false. So that's how it came about. And this kind of storytelling is about the elements that you use to exaggerate a story. Now, obviously, it's not something you're going to do throughout the whole story, because then it becomes just as boring as if you don't use any exaggeration. So it was an element of finding the elements that were unbelievable, exaggeration, drama, spicing up things, making things bigger. I mean, we do this every day, don't we? You know, in our, oh, that coffee was so delicious, I could drink 10 gallons, you know. We exaggerate a lot in everyday conversation. Well, I do. Don't you? I bet you do too. Yeah, how cool is it? At the same time, yes. So yeah, we do use exaggeration quite a lot, you know, to make a point, to emphasize something. So we say these things to get a reaction and to make a point, to get more attention. We use these daily when we're talking to each other and, you know, to put our point across. So with the storytelling elements, we add this to it so that it changes things up a little bit. Don't you think? Don't you think that works sometimes? Putting a little bit more spice, some drama, some colour. The blog that I did this week was exactly on this very topic, obviously. And what I found was this fantastic photograph of a sausage that was put inside a banana. I don't know if you ever got to see that, but if you look on the website and look at the, which is somewhere up there in the details, you'll see this picture of this fantastic banana, which is open, and inside it's not a banana, it's a sausage. And so it's like, wow, what's that got to do with anything? But then, you know, humour takes over. So, or shock, perhaps. Both are great elements in telling a tall tale. So the problem is that when we don't add some je ne sais quoi, some extra spice to our stories, they can often end up a little bit tired. They heard it all before. It's a bit bland. What is she really saying? Oh, I'm not really interested anymore. It's lacking. You know, these are the words that we hear when the talk that we're listening to, or the speech that's been given, or the message that's being put across, it's not reaching, it's not engaging with our audience. People get tired with the same old language, same old words. I'm sure you've got a few words that irritate you in this, you know, personal development world. Oh, I've come across so many words I dislike. God. I can give you a really long list. Really, this time I'm not exaggerating. So, you know, it is about finding something original within ourselves, our own special, unique selling points. Isn't that what they call that in business, the USP? And it is about discovering, you know, our own original language. It might be colloquial phrases. It might be something we've picked up, we've overheard on a conversation somewhere, and adding that to our own stories. And so this is the essence of what I'm talking about today. Let's see what you're all saying. Giving it some pizzazz, absolutely. Love the creativity, contrast, color. Aha, this is great, yes. So that's what it's all about, it's putting in our own special things. I'm sure you, Lucinda, with your South African background, listening to all the different stories and the accents and the dialects and the way people put words together, I'm sure you could pinch some and put them into your speeches, you know, now and again, just to add something unusual, you know, to get away from that usual kind of language that we hear all the time, especially as 5 million people are doing Facebook Lives every day. So, you know, it's to break away from all that. Right. So what have I always make notes. I love writing. So, yeah, people love to see. People go, the audiences want to be entertained. Audiences want to be entertained, let's face it. They want to learn, yes. They want to gain some knowledge. But all that tied up within the essence of entertainment. And so we know some of these elements as humor and a bit of drama, but how can you use those really effectively? So people want to see your passion. They want to see the sparkle in your eyes. They want to see that you are happy where you are. Lots of diversity languages, yes, that's it. You see, here I'm living in Spain, so I'm hearing, you know, the Spanish language all the time, and I hear the way they say things. They're much more relaxed than British people, for example. So they're much more relaxed about things. They have, you know, different turns of phrases, which if you translate back, sometimes it's quite funny, sometimes works, sometimes has no meaning at all. So it is about playing with all those different accents and different languages and the way people put those things across. That's right, Lucinda. Yeah. And so one of the things that I really love is to encourage you to use your imagination and intuition, because it's something that's really murdered at school and very often in our home and with the religious organizations. And then we go into the big wide world to earn money. Some of us do that anyway. And, you know, immediately we're not told to use our imagination, and definitely not your intuition. And so these very creative, huge mental facility that we have is deadened. And that's where all the creative juice lies. That's where all the fantastic stuff lies. The excitement, the passion, the pizzazz, as you say. Live freezing my side. Oh dear. Sorry about that. Sometimes we have very poor internet. Maybe you'll catch it soon. I hope it comes back. Yeah, so it is about, you know, enjoying and tapping into our imagination and our intuition. And sometimes that means, you know, clearing away some debris, some bracken, some walls, some, you know, bad stories, limiting beliefs, you'll never be good at, you couldn't do this, you shouldn't, and all those horrible things that we heard from our parents to schools to way up into the big world. Lucinda, are you back on again? I hope so. It does tend to be a bit in and out. I hope you're back anyway. So it is about tapping into our imagination and our intuition that we can, you know, really access some of those juicy stories. Obviously, if we've got like an hour presentation or an hour speech to do, then you can't fill it with constant exaggeration and unbelievable stuff. But you can put in some, yeah, you're back, great. Childlike wonderment, superb, that's it. So it is about, you know, breaking through those barriers that we have, that we were told never to use and never to say, and don't do this and you'll never be good and all those things, and tapping into the fantastic imagination that we have, the childlike stuff, you know, the stuff that we're dying to share, especially us girls. We're really good at that. And, you know, one of the great things I love with working with women is that, you know, we can be very serious and we can talk about very serious things. And then 5 seconds later, we're going, oh my God, where's my lipstick? Or whatever, you know, or I've trodden, my bra's come undone, or whatever it is. You know, we can be very flippant. And so this is part of it, is tapping into those silly sides, those creative sides, to jazz things up a little bit, to get away from that everyday language that often is tiresome, boring, you know, come up with some new stuff. And so one of the things I wanted to share with you was about a tall tale that I did in my Toastmasters Club. And it was a very funny one, and it brings me on to the topic of humour. Briefly, I'll tell you the story. And it was a story that I told about when I went to Lago di Garda in northern Italy. It's a beautiful lake, one of the biggest lakes. And we went out, my partner and I. We saw everybody was on the lake, and they were on their boats, you see. Everybody had these gorgeous boats. Hey, Karen, thank you for joining. And everybody was, I'm just telling a story now. So everybody was out on these gorgeous boats. You know how Italians are very stylish and this, that, and the other. So we went out and bought this 2-meter plastic boat. And it was bright yellow. And it was like, yeah, we've got a boat now. So we pumped it up, but it was extremely flimsy, especially the bottom. And it was very difficult to get in. I don't know if any of you ever got into a plastic boat or anything like that. Even the very solid, I mean, I did some scuba diving years ago, but even the very solid ones are really difficult to get in and out of. So we finally managed to get this boat away from the shore after several times me falling and flapping and my bum was in the air and all this. We finally get the boat out and it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking around as if I'm in some yacht, you know, not in this yellow plastic boat. And one of the amazing things about the Italian lakes is that they have a lot of ducks. And one of the reasons is that the Italians feed them leftover bread, leftover pizza, and they enjoy them, and then they probably catch a few and cook them, God knows. But anyway, so there's these huge, what do they call them? Herd? No, a shoal? I don't know. But loads of ducks out on the lake. And one of the things that ducks do is they quack. And when there's loads of them, their quacking sounds like laughter. It's quack, 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 quack. Well, I can't imitate it very well, but you know, they're all quacking away like lunatics. So what was happening was that suddenly I said to myself, oh, it's lovely on this boat, but now I want to go in the water. I really wanted to have a little swim around, to paddle about, because it was so beautiful and clean, the water. And yeah, it was funny. So to get in the water was, you know, tricky, because if you fall backwards like you do when you're diving, when you're a diver, it's very likely that with my weight, it would go, the whole thing would tip. So I had to sort of go one leg and fall, very ungraceful. The ducks start laughing. They start quacking away, quack, 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 quack. So I have my paddle, enjoying myself. It's absolutely fabulous. But then the real problem was getting back in. How do you get back in? So getting back in was just the biggest nightmare ever, because I had one arm on the boat and then the leg on the boat, but I couldn't lift my body onto it. You know, my big fat ass was just not moving. And so the ducks were in chorus, singing away, quacking away, laughing their heads off. Finally, I get back in, but of course, because I'm here, right? So I tell this story at my Toastmaster Club. Everybody was falling about laughing. I did a really good imitation of ducks quacking. It was excellent. But loads of people didn't think it was true. They didn't think it was true. They just thought it was a what do you call that in English? Like a shaggy dog story, you know, because it was a bit long. And they didn't believe it was true. It was too exaggerated. It was too silly. It was too funny. It was too slapstick. It was very interesting to ask people. Some people who knew me said, it's definitely you. I can just imagine you doing that. But what are those elements that make something believable? That's what got me into this. What makes a story believable? You know, because we hear so many stories and we think, is that really true? Did she really do that? Could that be, is that possible? What do you think? Have you had things like that happen to you, where you told a story and people just didn't believe you? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. And how do you incorporate that into a bigger speech or a talk that you want to do, you know, or, you know, like a TED talk or an inspirational talk, motivational talk? I know that all of you want to be speakers, and you do, quackers are good. You know, so how do you make those stories believable when they might be slightly over the top? What are those elements? And at the same time, you know, what are those things that make a story believable? Tricky stuff, isn't it? So, lipstick and microphone, the weapons of a public speaker. So where did I get to with my lovely notes? So it was like looking at how we can, yeah, absolutely, would love to make a non-personal one now. Yeah, making personal. I mean, sometimes we can use other people's stories. You know, I could have said, I saw these people out on the boat and this is what happened. But it is, you know, the British actually have this self-depreciating humour, which is very interesting humour and is not understood by everybody. I remember doing a speech in front of a Spanish audience, and they did not get that self-depreciating stuff at all. Whereas you do it in front of a British audience, they love you for it. They admire you for it. But with Spanish people, because they're very proud, they don't like that. So humour is a tricky one, I think, that, you know, so for me, it's about knowing my audience really well. Make sure you know that mixture of audience. And the other thing is that some things could be insulting. You know, some types of humour could be really insulting to an audience. I don't mean necessarily gestures that you do, but because then, you know, why would you be doing it in front of an audience that doesn't get it? But, you know, it is about understanding your audience before you go on stage. Yeah. One of the things that I learned, having worked on big stages, especially when I was in the music business and even in the performance poetry, when I worked on really big stages, and one of the things you have to do is exaggerate your movements. It's okay in this sort of small gesture, but if you're at the back, you don't see that. So you have to make your movements big when you're on stage. You have to move big. And you might think it's exaggerating, but on a big stage, it isn't. It's really important to make big movements. If you think about skaters and dancers and actors, they wear lots of makeup so that their facial features show. Because if you're up with the gods, you know, you've got one of them cheap tickets, you won't be able to see their faces or their eyes. And that's why they have these big gestures. So physical exaggeration is really important when you're on a big stage. And a big stage could just be something that's just 2 meters high. You love British humour. Yeah, it is great. South African humour, quite tricky with such multiple diversity. Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. Here too, actually. You have to be, careful with it. So on a really big stage, when you're 2 meters up and you've got a big audience, it's really important to make your gestures big, and that's where the lipstick comes in handy. And I mean, I'm not much of a makeup girl. I find it a bit, I'm learning, how to make your eyes bigger and things like that, and your hair more. We girls like that. Come on, we do. But we want to look good, whatever that image is. We want to look good. And one of the things that I remember I was told as a young girl growing up, if you look like $1 million, you're going to get $1 million. It's lovely, isn't it? That's a lovely one. So solving the problems. Okay, so one of the things I suggest when you're writing your piece or you're rehearsing your piece or you're doing a mind map of your speech that you're going to do, your talk you're going to do, you want to sprinkle some zing on your verbs and honey on your adjectives. You want to jazz up your vocabulary. Use a thesaurus. Use a dictionary. Listen to how other people use their language. Try to find another word. We have some very bland adjectives in the English language, like nice, hope, and try. Oh, don't use them. Come up with some other ones. So jazz up your language. Change the gender from hero to heroine. Woohoo! Please. That is always a surprise. The pilot becomes the pilotess. That always causes surprise. If you change the gender, people think it's unbelievable. The doctor wasn't a man, it was a woman. The scientist wasn't a man, it was a woman. Change it. Even if it's not true, just change it. It shocks people, but it works. So the third thing I would suggest is change the location. If your story happened in the garden, make it somewhere else. Change the location. Nobody knows the truth but you. So change the location. Make it somewhere different. Make it unusual. People will think, oh yeah. It'll add some spice to it. It'll add different energy to it. Fourth idea is, well, I mentioned this before, about your facial expressions. If you can move your eyebrows, which I can't, or your ears or something like that, add those to it at the right moment. Facial expressions, body language, the smile. The smile works wonders. The smile is one of our most beautiful, natural gifts. Isn't it, Jane? And the eyes, the eyes sparkle and they say, smile with your eyes. It's one of our greatest gifts. Everybody can do it. And it's free. It's one of our greatest gifts. The smile that comes from here and the smile that comes from here. And it's so important to use it. when we're storytelling, when we're sharing something. Humor. Yes, you know, humor, obviously we have to be careful. In certain audiences, certain humors don't work, but other humor does. And, you know, it's no good pinching people's jokes unless you can really do a big spin on it. Yeah. So it's, you know, humor is a tricky one, but when you tell your own story and you find it funny, you'd be amazed how other people will as well. So, and keep it simple, you know, don't get too descriptive with it. Keep it simple. Humor always works. And part of that is finding the funny side in life. Yes, find the funny side in life. So the last one is a surprise ending. You know, you want a surprise ending to get people to connect with you and remember you, to know what it was that you were really on about, you know, that surprise ending, change things up a little bit. So those are the ideas that I want to share with you in this short time that we have together. And I didn't really give you much chance to ask any questions, maybe food for thought. I was so excited to share with you today these ideas, you know, having not been on Facebook for a while and being very noisy today with this fiesta. So those of you who, you know, who enjoy writing and doing articles or just speech preparation or mind mapping your ideas for your next blog or the next talk that you want to do, and you want a little guidance about how to spice things up, you will find on my webpage some very straightforward, to the point courses. You know, the kind of a brainstorm would be to clear away the obstacles. And then I've got a writing program as well, which some people like to do, fun stuff like that. And, you know, if you've got a speech that you've already written and you want to prepare it, you want to rehearse it, because we all have to rehearse, don't we? We have to prepare really well. And, you know, I do believe that practice, repetition, practice makes you proud. Not perfect, proud. Practicing makes you proud and happy and confident. And that's the way you want to hit the stage, isn't it? In it, that's so London. You can see where I've spent years. So my darlings, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you want more information about my courses and my classes and the things that I do, then you'll see that link up there, somewhere up there. And I'm going to be doing more lives and some interviews. 2 weeks ago, I did an interview with a friend of mine about collaborations. What we're saying here, going to find a lipstick. Yes, you've got the microphone. Yes, find a lipstick, Lucinda. Excellent. Oh, thank you so much, Jane. You're always so sweet and kind. A very big heart you have, my darling. And thank you so much, Lucinda, as well. Yes, you know, it's about changing up our energy and letting our imagination air and our intuition sparkle so that we can add a little bit of drama, a little bit of exaggeration at the right time, at the right moments. You know, what's that other famous type of humor? Gallows humor. That's a very interesting one, which we'll talk about on another day. So I'm going to love you and leave you. And I really appreciate you coming on to join me tonight. And tonight, it is night, isn't it? Yeah, it's getting dark out there now. And it was delicious. Absolutely, Lucinda. Perfect. Practice makes you proud. Yes, Jane, we do love to practice, don't we? And I wish you all the most wonderful evening. And, you know, sign up to my blog. You'll have lots of laughs and lots of ideas, and you can comment and ask questions, and it's a real kind of family thing, you know. Do sign up there. You'll get a free ebook if you sign up now, because it's already up there on the website, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that. So huge kisses from sunny Spain to both of you, my darlings, have been on with me today, or 3 of you, 4 of you, can't see it at the moment. And have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to connecting with you somewhere along the sound waves, on some stage somewhere. Wouldn't it be great to meet up one day, be sharing a stage? How fabulous. Yes, oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. You can find the website. It should be the link above in the corner there, or else you just put my name in with a .com on the end, or I'll send it to you if you don't find that. And do join up, and you'll get that free ebook, and you'll get some fun blogs every week. They're short and sweet and spicy, just like me. So on that happy note, mwah, have a fabulous evening, ladies. Ciao for now.